Why does PNG have an attitude problem? Let's take a deep dive and look at it from a PNG researcher's point of view. So, why do Western societies think and act so differently from the rest of the world, especially Papua New Guinea? It's a question we've probably all considered at some point, especially here in Papua New Guinea, where community and clan are at the heart of everything we do, more or less. But what if I told you that the way Westerners view the world is rooted in historical choices that shaped their brains, behaviors, and entire cultures? Okay, so let's break it down. The origins of the Western thinking. Western society is often described as weird, W-E-I-R-D. That stands for weird, educated, industrialized, rich, and developed. This acronym captures the unique characteristics of these cultures as detailed in Joseph Heinrich's book, The Weirdest People in the World. One fascinating observation is this: people from weird, W-E-I-R-D, societies are less effective at facial recognition. Why is that? This is because they use the right hemisphere of the brain for this task, while non-Western societies, like PNG, use both hemispheres. So beyond facial recognition, there are significant differences in memory, attention, spatial awareness, and reasoning between Western and non-Western cultures. The question is then, why? So, historical context. The root of these differences can be traced back about 1,000 years to a decision made by the Western Church, which later became the Catholic Church. Around this time, the church banned cousin marriages. Before this, most societies around the world, including Europe, were organized around clans and kinship networks. Your family wasn't just your parents and your siblings. Sound familiar? It included first, second, third, and even fourth cousins, all of whom were seen as just as close as brothers and sisters. Sound familiar? This structure created societies that prioritized obedience to authority, conformity, and nepotism. Everything revolved around the family and the clan. Kinship versus nuclear family structures. When the church banned cousin marriages, the nuclear family emerged. Instead of relying on an extended network of relatives, people became isolated into smaller family units, basically parents and their children, and that was it. This was a monumental shift. Nuclear families had to look beyond their clans to survive, forming relationships with strangers. This reliance on others fostered trust between unrelated individuals. It laid the groundwork for individualism and innovation and social trust. This change led to some of the most defining features of Western society as we know it today. Nuclear families turned to strangers for trade, services, and support. This gave rise to concepts like contracts and guilds. Guilds became the foundation for trade unions and professional organizations. People began to form charter towns, communities where residents took an oath to live up to shared responsibilities and help develop the town. These institutions were uniquely Western, and they encouraged cross-pollination of ideas, leading to unprecedented innovation. Social trust became a key characteristic of these societies. Trust in strangers created a fertile environment for economic prosperity and technological progress. Cultural comparison. Guilt versus shame. Another striking difference between Western and non-Western cultures lies in how morality is experienced. Western cultures emphasize guilt. When a Westerner makes a mistake, they feel they've let themselves down as an individual. In contrast, non-Western cultures are often shame-based. Here, a person's actions reflect on their family, community, and clan. Identity is rooted in relationships. For example, I am the son of X, the father of Y, the brother of Z, and that's it. In Western societies, identity is individualistic. So, I am a content maker, a thinker, a collector of rare books, a writer, etc. Religion and literacy, the Protestant influence. Now, In Papua New Guinea, we know very well, religion also played a massive role in shaping Western thinking. The Protestant Reformation removed the priest as the intermediary between individuals and God. People were encouraged to read the Bible themselves, which drove literacy rates up. This emphasis on individual responsibility fueled the rise of individualism. Protestant countries like the United States, Canada, Australia, and Scandinavian nations became some of the most individualistic countries in the world. Let's do a case study. Italy, in many ways, is similar and dissimilar to PNG. But let's look at it like this. Even within Europe, these patterns hold. Northern Italy rigorously applied the church's ban on cousin marriages, while southern Italy did not. Today, the cultural differences are striking. The North has a high-trust, innovation-driven economy. The South, on the other hand, has more corruption and strong family-based networks, such as the mafia. So, connecting it back to PNG, religion, elders, and the slippery slope. Here in Papua New Guinea, we are still deeply rooted in clan-based systems. Our families and communities define who we are. We trust our relatives more than we trust strangers, and our identities are tied to our kinship. When Christian missionaries arrived in PNG during the late 19th and early 20th century, they brought literacy, Western education, and new forms of governance. But their approach often entrenched our elders in traditional systems instead of disrupting them. Missionaries aligned with local leaders to spread Christianity, reinforcing the elders' authority and the communal shame-based morality already in place. While this strengthened our clan bonds, it also solidified the non-weird mindset, WEIRD, arguably setting PNG on a harder, slippery slope track away from modernity. For instance, the reliance on traditional hierarchies made it difficult to cultivate the kind of individualism and social trust that fosters innovation and economic diversification. Could we have benefited from a more direct engagement with Western systems like literacy-driven individualism or Protestant-style accountability? Possibly. But the overlap between missionary influence and our traditional systems show how historical forces shaped the PNG we know today. Here's a call to action. This story of the Western mind is a powerful reminder of how history shapes our societies. But what do you think? Can Papua New Guinea learn from these ideas without losing its cultural identity? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to follow for more discussions like this. Uncle Man, out.